Eco Money on Money FM 89.3.
Hi, I'm Rachel Kelly, and this is Eco Money on Money FM 89.3. Now, Singapore aims to reach net zero by 2050. But as a small island city-state, what does this mean? Well, as the National Climate Change Secretariat puts it, given that Singapore is an alternative energy disadvantaged island city-state, these targets are contingent on technological advances and the economic viability of low-carbon technologies such as hydrogen, carbon capture, utilization and storage, as well as effective international collaborations in areas such as carbon credits and renewable energy imports. But according to some industry players, more needs to be done to reach climate goals. The Sustainable Energy Association of Singapore is a non-government and a non-profit business association. It represents the interests and provides a common platform for companies in the sustainable energy sector to meet, discuss, collaborate, and undertake viable projects together. A recent survey of its members revealed that more than two-thirds, 72% to be exact, of respondents believe that Singapore isn't making fast enough progress on its net zero targets. I spoke with Kavita Gandhi, Executive Director of the Sustainable Energy Association of Singapore. She says that the landscape is changing so rapidly that while it might seem that we're on track with these goals, much more needs to be done to meet the targets.
We organized this conference called the Asia Clean Energy Summit, and we are in our 10th anniversary. So to commemorate that, we conducted a survey to see where are we, in terms of the targets, etc. What does the industry feel about it? So we were quite surprised actually to find out that the majority of our respondents believe that Singapore is not making fast enough progress on the net zero targets. Goes without saying that we are from the sustainable energy sector, so our members would like to do more and more in this space. But that was one kind of takeaway. And the other one was, again, what we found, they felt Singapore will be badly affected by climate change. A good percentage, about 29% felt that. And another 55% felt that it would be somewhat affected by climate change. So that shows our vulnerability to climate change. But in terms of solutions, again, we had given them a list of options that they could look at to see what could be the solutions.
So the question is, what more can be done? Well, the survey findings discovered that SIAS members believe the three biggest opportunities to advance net zero goals across ASEAN are greater cross-border collaboration, more definitive policies affecting regions, not just countries, and more investment and availability of finance for green energy projects. The green energy transition is a term that we often hear thrown around, though, and I asked Kavita how this is changing perceptions and what this means for the description of what a sustainable energy source is.
It's still carbon-free energy, and we look at solar as a very big source in Singapore, and then, of course, there's wind, biogas, biomass, etc., in the other parts of the region. So that's definitely is still the same definition. But I think what we are referring to when we talk about energy transition is decarbonization. So we definitely have to look at all the strategies around decarbonization. How do we capture these carbon emissions? So because, unfortunately, it's not a switch on or switch off, right? So it's a transition by the very meaning of that word. It's a journey. So I guess we'll have to start with there will be a partial phase out of fossil fuels. And then in the meantime, there has to be some kind of focus on technologies like carbon capture and utilization and storage, carbon credits, carbon markets. We have lots of members in SEAS who are all in this area and who are supporting many of the large companies to look at their decarbonization efforts. So I think that's where it is. So it is a transition through adopting all the new and innovative technologies that are available.
As you mentioned, your members shared that availability of finance for green energy projects is something that can help. This is where the biggest opportunities could be to advance net zero goals. Do you think this is still a challenge for some of the younger, innovative and clean tech players?
I think definitely that's a challenge, but I feel, and we run a program called the Sustainable Energy Startup Network. We even run a pitching competition on the sidelines of the Asia Clean Energy Summit called the Power Ace, where we invite global submissions from startups. So I think what I would like to say is that there is plenty of money for the right kind of technologies.
Right.
And technologies, and also the right promoters behind that, because any investor wants to see, while they want to see impact, but they also want to see that the capital is secure and they can achieve some return on that capital. So I think it's the promoters, the teams behind these startups, and of course the practical technologies that can be implemented. I think there's a lot of demand. In fact, we work with a lot of various companies that wanted to adopt these technologies right here in Singapore. Companies like CDL, companies like OCBC, DBS Bank, and many others that we, talk to, who are very keen to actually adopt these new technologies, as long as, there is some innovation. Because a lot of technologies we see are very they're very AI, IoT, software-driven technologies. Those kind of solutions are plenty. But I think the adopters are also looking for deep tech technologies, which could really move the needle. And they're unique in some way or the other. Everybody should not just be optimizing on energy just by using AI or IoT. There has to be something unique in what the companies have to offer. And some of them who are very unique technologies actually have been able to raise money very successfully.
Kavita Gandhi, Executive Director of the Sustainable Energy Association of Singapore. I'm Rachel Kelly, and you've been listening to Eco Money on Money FM 89.3.